This is a proud production of ITM Media. Good day to everyone listening out there and rambling about Racin Nation, here for a very special episode, episode 2, I should say, of season 5 of Rambling About Racing. Got a great one for you. The guys from Blindspotting NASCAR podcast are joining us. Michael, Travis, and Andrew, and as always, Charlie Hercus joining us here on the episode. Unfortunately, Austin and Preston had prior engagements and could not make it to this week's episode, but we hopefully will have him back by next week. Again, I'm Matt Beamer. Thank you for joining us here on this episode. And like I said, we have the guys from Blindspotting NASCAR podcast. We're going to go ahead and introduce them once again. Michael, Travis, and Andrew there from the great state of North Carolina, more specifically, Race City, USA, Morrisville, North Carolina. Gentlemen, how's it going? Great to have you back on the show. How was your holidays? How was everything going for you guys up there?
Everything's been going great, man. We really appreciate the invitation, and as you said, we're right here in Morrisville, Race City, USA, and this is going to be our second episode of the year. We did our intro about 2 weeks ago, and just kind of kick off what we might see happen in the Clash, which of course we all know was over the weekend. I look forward to speaking with you guys about that. But yeah, you guys used to room together. Is that how you met when you were at the Technical Institute here in Morrisville? Is that how the Matt and Hercus Circus got started?
Well, really what happened was we weren't rooming together. We actually hated each other's guts when we first met, if I recall correctly. And
we weren't the best of friends. Then we got to hanging out, and then one day I got pretty well snowed / froze in over there, and I wound up spending a few days over there, and it's been love since.
A few cases later, everybody got along a lot better.
That's pretty much what happened there. And I was at the time I was living in those apartments behind Walmart. I think Brentwood. Brentwood Apartments, and I actually drove by there when I came up to see you guys from Martinsville a couple years ago, and I don't miss it, but a lot of good memories there. A lot of good memories. I've upgraded since then, but yeah, everything's going well. I'm glad you guys are here again. This is going to be a fun episode. We're talking about our 2023 NASCAR preview here, not just for Cup, but for Truck and Xfinity. We'll toggle more on those, but I feel like we're going to talk more about the Cup Series more than anything. You can also review the Clash, and like to take this opportunity again to welcome everyone to the show. Make sure to head over to ramblinabout.racing.com to follow us on everything. This episode will only be on YouTube if you're looking for the video version of the podcast, but available on all your regular podcast platforms come later in the week. And make sure to sign up for our Discord as well if you want to be on the show and maybe interact with the show. Still working out the kinks on that one, but sign up for our Discord. All those links can be found at ramblinabout.racing.com. You guys ready to just get into the 2023 preview here?
Ready to hit it.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Folks, before we continue on with the start of Season 5 of Ramblin' About Racing, I wanted to remind everyone out there about our online stores at Teespring and Bonfire, where you can find the latest and greatest Ramblin' About Racing gear, such as T-shirts like the one I have on, hoodies, hats, or anyone but lineup exclusively at Bonfire, and so much more. Pint glasses for your beers and everything like that. Just head over to ramblinabout.racing.com under the stores tab, and there you can find the links to both Teespring and Bonfire. Every purchase will help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content and hopefully more content at tracks around the country later on as we get there. So head on over to ramblinabout.racing.com. Links can also be found in the YouTube video below or on your podcast description on your regular podcast platform below. Again, all proceeds help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content in the future.
Boogity, boogity,
Hey, man.
boogity.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, here presented by Devos Outdoor Lighting. Make sure to head over to ramblinaboutracing.com. Use that discount code Ramblin for 10% off of your Devos Outdoor Lighting needs. And that's Ramblin for 10% off, and all proceeds will help us out here at the show. Finally got a sponsor, guys. A very
That's
good
awesome.
sponsor. Matter of
Great
fact,
job.
right there.
Nice.
Devos Outdoor
Well, that's
Lighting.
good. What do they do? Is it like landscape lighting around your flower beds, or it's like when you're camping, or what kind of lighting do they do?
It's this LED like kind of lantern, but you can telescope it up to the point where it lights up a lot of stuff. So I find it useful for if I do camping, outdoor cooking at night, or really what I really like to use it for is if in case of roadside emergencies, especially at night, you can light yourself up as like a Christmas tree. If you can't get off the road, you could at least be illuminated so people don't hit you. That's just
That's
me.
nice. Yeah.
That's nice when that works out. Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. Okay, starting our 2023 season preview here, I should say. And we're going to start off with this question here, and this is going to be a roundtable discussion. Anybody could chime in anything they want, and then we'll just go from there. Which team will be the team to beat this season from your guys' point of view? We're going to start off from the guys from Blindspotting NASCAR podcast. Whoever wants to go first.
Shoot, Travis, you got it. Oh, Michael, you go? Go ahead.
Well, if that's okay. Yeah, I made a couple notes. I watched a lot of the heats and qualifying for the Clash. And on Saturday, I made a couple of notes and noting that Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon looked really happy together. You know, they looked like they were getting along well. Austin really had a nice stash going. Kyle looked the happiest that he's looked in a long, long time. And then sure enough, when it came main event time, on Sunday night, they finished second and third. So I would say watch out for those guys. I think we're going to see maybe a Kyle Busch resurgence. I think Austin's always had good talent, but as they mentioned in the interview after the race last night, they were working together. And Kyle, surprisingly, let Austin around him because he had the better car so that he could try to make a move on Truex at the end of the race. Now, when has Kyle Busch ever done that? And so I'm really optimistic about what that team may be bringing to the track this year. So I'm going to have to say Childress will be my answer. Travis?
I said this in our season preview that we did last week or a couple of weeks ago. Christopher Bell is my driver / team to watch this year. I actually picked him to win the Cup championship. So the 20 team.
Yeah, and I'm being foolhardy here because nobody's done this since Jimmy Johnson, but I'm going to pick a repeat. I think until somebody knocks that 22 off the pedestal, I don't see any reason why they're not going to run. They ran pretty well. He tended to move a few guys out of the way, but we can talk about that for the Clash later. But that team is strong, and I think somebody's going to have to knock them off. I'd love to pick somebody else because I'm not the biggest Logano fan, but
maybe I misunderstood the question. Were you talking about individual drivers or like groups of teams?
Because one of the questions you guys brought up was which team combo was going to be the most successful. I was going to say what was the team that beat, and I mean it doesn't have to necessarily be the organization. It could just be the individual, Joey Logano or Christopher Bell. But what do you think, Charlie?
I gotta say mine for last because I don't think you'll believe me. So you go ahead.
All right. I like that.
I think mine's gonna. I think my pick's kind of gonna surprise you.
All right. Well, here's my pick, and after thinking about this, I put in parentheses after team an S because I think there's a couple teams to keep an eye on. I'm going to agree with you, Michael. RCR Racing with Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon. With Kyle Busch coming in there, being the senior driver that he is, and being the seasoned veteran that he is, he's obviously brought a lot to the table. We've seen a completely change in there. They'll be at an exhibition race, and they'll be at the Clash at the Coliseum. There's something different about RCR. Keep an eye on them. But really, what I'm looking at is Colleague Racing with AJ Allmendinger and Justin Haley. I think Colleague Racing is going to surprise a lot of people this season.
It's an interesting one.
AJ's going to have to get his temper in check. He did not behave well over the weekend, but if he can get that in check, I think it'll be okay. And Haley's got to figure out how to transform or transfer his success in qualifying and into the race.
I think that's where
Absolutely.
lack of practice over the last 3 years has really hurt those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you give the veterans, you looked at the Truexes and the Harvicks, and those guys figure out how to race their cars. And Haley just have enough seat time, and they only get 20 minutes of practice.
Yeah,
Charlie,
he said it himself. You know, Haley said it himself after qualifying, after he won the pole. You know, well, we showed our strength. You know, we were good here last year, and then we sucked the rest of the year. So, you know, here we are. And he kind of downed himself a little bit right there. And he's not wrong. He had in my opinion, one other really good race. And I think that was the Indy road course. And that was majority because everybody took everybody else out.
Looked a lot like
it was either there or it was either there or it was one of the road courses where he finished like second, third. He had a top 5 finish. But other than that and the Coliseum race last year, those were his only races that he was worth the crap.
Well, we call it racing, in my opinion, is always run well on super speedway races. They always are a threat, especially in the Xfinity series. Can that transfer up to Cup this season? Hopefully, and I think it will.
I don't think AJ Allmendinger is going to be the one to do it for. I may put my foot in my mouth, but I don't think he's the one that's going to do it for him.
He's definitely developed since we saw him win in Watkins Glen when he was with JGT Doherty Racing. He's definitely developed and grown as a driver since then.
I think it will help that there's a normal person in that car, that they're not splitting that seat 3 ways, because I think that also hurt Justin Haley. But just to, not to pile on, Matt, but AJ couldn't get it done in the Xfinity series. You know, he never won a title there. So I'll be interested to see if they can pull it off.
A lot of people haven't won titles but seen success in the Cup Series, and from the Xfinity Series up to the Cup Series. And I mean, but to your point, a lot of people have not had success in the Cup Series, but dominated in the Xfinity Series. I mean, we've seen that a lot. So I feel either way. I think my eyes are on Kaulig Racing. Are they championship caliber? I'm not going to call it yet, but I think there's somebody to watch. And finally, Charlie, we have yet to hear what your opinion is on the team to beat this season.
I'm gonna go with Petty GMS. Now that they have Gregson on board, and on top of that, they have Jimmy Johnson as a team owner now. They got some momentum going for them, and Eric Jones did not run bad last year at all.
He didn't,
no.
And I think adding
won Darlington.
Yeah, I think adding somebody like Gregson to the mix is going to do nothing but catapult that team forward, or that organization forward. So,
and I can see he and Eric get along well. I think that's good.
I agree.
Good
they
pair,
they both have super late model, short track backgrounds. I mean, they both come from the same roots, and they're going to mingle well. They're going to do well. And I'll point blank say it. I think they both make the playoffs. So,
wow.
Okay.
I also wonder, to your point, Charlie, that when Stewart came to Stewart-Haas, that was a below-average organization, and his name brought good people. I wonder how much Jimmy Johnson, being an equity partner now, is going to not only improve the drivers, but also improve the staff that they have working on those cars. So now they can attract higher caliber talent.
Yeah, I agree there. I think GMS coming on board helped. Honestly, I think the Petty name has probably done nothing but hurt more. I know it's Richard Petty, but golly, you can only ride the coattail of the Petty name for so long.
Well, they only won before Petty GMS, there were 3 wins since 1984, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
something like that. I mean, it wasn't a lot.
And they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were all restrictor plates except for
John
Andretti had won at Martinsville.
That's right.
Martinsville.
That's right.
Yep.
Here's my thing about Noah Gragson here. Noah Gragson, to me, is kind of sounds like AJ Allmendinger to you guys. He had success in the Xfinity series. He has yet to prove himself to me in the Cup Series, I mean, though be it he's a rookie, we have to wait a few years, but I don't think he's come out of the box swinging.
This is his first time in the Cup Series.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. But
well,
I mean,
you want to talk about the Rookie of the Year? You want to interject this right now because you've got very similar guys coming in with Ty Gibbs. They both ran limited schedules last year. Ty coming in for Kurt Busch, Gregson. So they both got Cup experience, not full seasons. Who do you think between those two guys is going to be the most successful? Who's going to win the Rookie of the Year? Because I think it's between those two guys. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Ty Gibbs.
Wow. What sets him apart? Why do you say it? Because he won the title last year? Or what sets him apart?
I think he came out of the box swinging when he took over for Kurt Busch after Pocono. After finishing the race, going home, then coming back, and then running decently well in every race that he had in the Cup Series. He wasn't blazing up to charts, but he wasn't wrecking. He did very fine, and no be it though. Noah Gragson did fine as well. I think Ty Gibbs has the backing of Joe Gibbs, which the team isn't where they used to be, but they're in better equipment by far than Petty GMS. And Petty GMS, I don't think is right there to contend for anything besides maybe top 15, top 20s finishes right now.
Well, we'll see. What does everybody else think about it? I think it'll be interesting to watch. I think that Gregson may have a slightly better year just because I think he's determined and driven to do better than Gibbs. I think just the personal drive that he's got to bet. I think losing the championship to him last year is going to provide him with the drive that he needs to be.
The leak over.
But not how much.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. The drive to beat him at least.
It won't be a blowout.
It won't be. I think
I don't think so either. Right.
I also think, let's not forget, the Ty Gibbs that we saw at Martinsville was the Noah Gragson we saw at Road America. And both those boys have anger issues to figure out behind the wheel. And depending on who they piss off early on, now I know they ran a handful of races last year, each of them, but this is a different sport now. And you're up with the big leagues. You're now racing for the title. And so when a guy comes up, you're not just going to pull over. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they get raced, how patient they are, and whether or not they learn from their veteran teammates. I think it could be a dead heat. What I do expect is Ty Gibbs to have a higher running position during the race, but he's going to tear up more equipment. So I think at the end of the year, because I think he takes more chances. So I think what you're going to see is they're both going to finish somewhere in the 12th to 17th. Yeah, that's right. They'll finish somewhere between 12th and 18th in the overall standings at the end of the regular season. But which one for me is ahead? I don't know that it potentially matters. I think they're going to both have decent rookie campaigns, but guys, there's only one or two rookies a year now, and it's a hard, tall mountain to climb.
I don't think you can discount the 4 years that Noah Gragson spent in the Xfinity Series. I think having that experience, learning as much as he did, I believe that he will finish higher in points. I think if either one of them wins a race, it'll be Gragson. I don't think either one of them will win a race. But I also think that Joe Gibbs Racing didn't learn from their previous mistakes. If you'll remember back to 2016, Carl Edwards abruptly retires. And who did they put in that car? Daniel Suarez. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that Ty Gibbs is Joe Gibbs' grandson, and he's going to have a little bit more of a leash. But I don't think you can discount what Ty could have learned from another year in Xfinity. If nothing else, another year of maturity.
And don't forget Suarez won the title, too.
Yes, he did. Yep. So I think Ty's going to get his lunch handed to him this year, and I'd be shocked if he finished in the top 25 in points.
Now, if you ask us which driver has the better career at the end,
Ty Gibbs.
I think Ty Gibbs does. Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think it's so early to tell because we've seen a lot of these phenoms come up from the Xfinity Series and not produce in the Cup Series. The next big thing coming up from the Xfinity Series and not competing at all what they expected in the Cup Series. It's too early to tell.
I would answer that one as well, but it would kind of lead into our next question. So,
let me just close with this. In Ty Gibbs's case, he's the rookie on that team. You got two guys that, in my opinion, are on their way out in Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. Truex more than Hamlin, but I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to stick around and drive that 11 car much longer. And then you've got Christopher Bell, who, up until last year was on a make or break season, and he made it, and so he gets another year in that car. So I don't know, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I wonder if it's going to look like in 2 years like Stewart Haas did last year.
I think it's a possibility.
Where that turnover really hurt him.
And if that's the case, JGR is going to struggle mightily.
Not to
I'll move us to our next question. With one of our statements there, talking about the careers. If I'm not mistaken, our next question is, who this is their make or break year.
That's one of the questions we can go
we'll move to that one. We'll move to that one. Talking about the make or break year and whatnot. I think Gragson's, as far as career wise, he's only at Petty GMS for a limited amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, this may be the only year. He may be there next year. And depending on how Bowman does this year, this may be the only year he's at Petty GMS, because I think this is the make or break year for Bowman at Hendrick.
Oh, okay. That's a call.
Interesting,
but not. I can see
along those lines, I was surprised. Maybe you guys weren't surprised, but Alex Bowman has the same number of wins as Ryan Blaney, and I didn't think he had 7. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason in my head, I consider Ryan Blaney a little tier up from Alex Bowman, but those guys are kind of similar, actually, if you look at their careers. But yeah. So, Matt, what do you think about make or break season?
I think right now I'm looking at, for make or break season, Stewart Haas Racing, more specifically Ryan Preece. He was on my radar when he was with JGT Jordy in the 2020 season. Unfortunately, had a backslide to the Xfinity Series with Cole Custer being let go at the end of last season. He was given another redeeming chance by Tony Stewart to drive that 41 Ford. I think this is going to be Ryan Preece's season to make it or break it. Now there's like Joe Gibbs Racing, there's a lot of changeover coming up for Stewart Haas Racing. Eric Almirola, who knows if this is going to be his last season or not. He was playing Tom Brady here with retirement and then coming back at the end of last season into this season. We all know Kevin Harvick's done at the end of this season.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of solid foundation right there at Stewart Haas Racing going in to this, or going out of this season, at the end of this season. And Eric Almirola is hit or miss. And I think it's going to be Ryan Preece, to be honest with you, his make or break season. He's got to rise up to the occasion and lead that team and be a leader, because he's going to take the places of Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola. There's really few in. And I think
you say that, but you got 2 people leaving this year, most likely, from Stewart Haas, with Harvick and Almirola. There's a good chance he may leave at the end of the year as well.
He signed a 2-year deal, though, right?
Guys, keep in mind.
Oh, did he?
He signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
He doesn't have to stay the 2 years,
but he can't go to anybody else.
But you got to keep in mind, Smithfield is a big backer of him and Stewart Haas.
And we talk about who's Ford going to put in that car.
Yep. That Ford's got a problem.
I mean, they don't have anybody in the Xfinity Series. What, are you going to put Haley Deegan in that car?
No. Riley Hercus.
That's why I don't think it's necessarily a make or break year for Ryan Preece.
I will say too, I listened to a lot of
they'll put Riley Herbst in it.
They might. Tony Stewart seems to really love that kid, Ryan Preece.
Yes, he does.
my guess is he's got 2 years, but I would not be surprised to not only see him win, but win multiple races this year if that organization runs well as a whole.
That organization has run well as a whole. I mean, but that's just me. Ryan Freese, I mean, Chase Briscoe won run race last year, didn't really do a whole lot with Stewart-Haas Racing, but even to then, I mean, Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole didn't do a whole lot in the 2020 season. Ryan Freese, I feel
what's the contract for who you just
Priest?
said? No, not Priest, but
Briscoe.
Briscoe.
He just re-upped.
He just signed a.
What about Ryan Blaney?
Blaney's long term at Penske.
So Blaney, I still think it's a make or break. So he's mine, not because of his ride.
That's mine too. That's why I was asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to go?
No,
So what you always complain about is what I was thinking, which is if that kid's ever going to win a title, he's got to. I mean, it's not a make or break. Yeah, it's not a make or break or whether he's going to be a career cup guy. He can probably drive as long as he wants somewhere. But the question is he going to be the guy that wins 12 races and you put in that conversation like Harry Gant, or is he going to finally break out and win a title and win 2025? Because I think this is the point of his career where he's got to do that if he's going to win a title. What's he coming up on 30, right?
Yeah, you know who his career reminds me a lot of though? His dad.
Yeah, but his dad never won a race.
He won at Rockingham.
He won one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's won 7.
But I'm just saying, like, you know,
he's milquetoast. He's a little lukewarm.
He's not a guy that's going to go out and ruffle feathers, you know. But
yeehaw!
I think for me,
doesn't do anything for me.
For me, my make or break guy, and this is a guy that I think is make or break, not to stay in his ride, but to stay in NASCAR, is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. You know, JTG Doherty Racing. Those sponsors, I mean, they announced more sponsors last week than Carter's got pills. It took me, 8 minutes to read the press release with all the sponsors that they have. But
that's an old reference. Carter's liver pills. That's an old reference.
Oh, yeah. I was like, my son does not take a lot of medication.
No.
I was wondering who Carter was.
Yeah.
Me too.
But anyway.
That's my son's name. I'm like,
I was like, wait.
But anyway, the sponsors are tied to JTG Doherty Racing, not Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And frankly, that team, from the time they came in the Cup Series to now, they haven't improved.
Well, they started to. I think the best they were was when they had Priest and Stenhouse together. Was it Stenhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was their best season, and they just couldn't get the money to run that second car.
Yeah.
I just don't think single car teams are going to do it anymore, and that's just going to be tough. I think another guy that's talking about make or break, he's probably already broke, is Ty Dillon. I think I'm surprised he came back with a full-time Cup ride in the Spire car. I would have gone down to Xfinity.
That makes you wonder, is this like with presidential candidates, is this really the best that we have? Or these two guys, like, what, is there not somebody else could jump in these cars for these? But I know it's sponsorship, but man, where are the?
You gotta look at the car. It's Spire Motorsports. They have one Cup win. They haven't proven that they can.
And that was rain shortened, right?
And that was rain shortened at Daytona with coincidentally Justin Haley. They haven't proven that they can run up front, and so you're not going to get a top name to go jump in that race car and finish 30th every week.
I'm talking about a top name, just somebody in like the trucks or the
somebody
try to get in there and win a race. I mean, I love Corey LaJoie, but his best chance to win a race might have been Atlanta last year, and he just couldn't get it done. I mean, I hope. Seems like a great guy. I met him one time, super nice guy. But I mean, if I'm Spire, I'm like, dude, I need to just see you do something. Love your hair. Hair is gorgeous, and we should get Mane and Tail to sponsor this car. But I need you to win some races.
Well, and don't forget, what was it that Ross Chastain said at Martinsville?
You can't win.
3 years ago, I was running 12 laps down for Spire Motorsports at Darlington.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyway, we're a little off track here, Matt. But
well, let me answer which team will backtrack this season? Spire.
Well, they can't go backwards any farther.
Much farther.
Yeah, they can't.
But
they can get behind Rick Ware.
Yeah, Cody Ware can't go anywhere but up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, my thing about Ty Dillon, speaking of Ty Dillon, I mean, why is he not getting the same attention from Richard Childress as Austin Dillon is? Why isn't he in?
Years ago, he didn't want it.
He didn't. He's a lot like Jeffrey Earnhardt.
He's a little more humble.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. years ago tried to help Jeffrey in his career, and Jeffrey, politely said, "No, I want to do this myself and do it my own way." And so,
maybe that's something they regret.
Yeah, but I think Jeffrey is on the right track this year with his ride with Alpha Prime Racing. So we'll see.
But it's a good question. I mean, the best Ty Dillon has ever run was when he subbed for Stewart in the 14 car.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was a chance for him to really take the next level up, and those rides just never came.
Yeah.
He's a guy that will take care of a car and finish 18th. He's not going to wreck a car. He's not going to ruffle feathers, but he's not going to take a chance to get a top 10 or top 5. I mean, he's just, but still, I mean, to be fair to the man, he's still one of the best top 40 stock car drivers in the world. He's just, 30th.
And I'll be honest, if you could go out and make $60,000 a race and finish 30th, wouldn't you do it?
Absolutely.
I guess it beats working at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah.
It does.
I mean,
I mean, I'd enjoy it, but man,
it sucks.
I gotta win. I need to start running up front, and I need to get in some contention.
Yeah, that's why I wonder, why don't you go down to Xfinity truck and go for a championship as opposed to ride around in the back and cup? I mean,
look at Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, or the guys that have gone down and come back up, and been better for it.
Yeah.
All right.
True. All right, next question. This should have been the top of the show question, but it wasn't. The Clash.
Yeah.
We're going to go right back to the Clash here. What was everybody's take on the Clash?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it
was fun to watch.
They were better at doing it this year than they were than they were
last year. Was a snooze fest.
Overall, it was not a bad race. I think what a lot of people were harping on, especially on Twitter, if you were following it on social media there, cautions, breed cautions, and it all started after the halftime show here, and then it just went kaput right there. To me, They
got Khalifa.
I wonder, there's some ways I was thinking about this.
Everything got whizzed on.
Yeah, it got whizzed on. That's right.
Sure did.
So part of me thought, why don't they drop, like, every 15, 20 laps, they drop the last 2 cars. So by the end, you only have a handful. I don't know, something like that. But then you look at Kyle Busch, who came from the back and drove his way to the front. So I think you saw some drivability. But what I also took away from this is any talk of that being a points race needs to go away. Because 100%. What it reminded me of is the Indy road course disaster, where guys just were going into turn 1, just drove through people.
Well,
they can go to Irwindale if they want to. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, just take Wallace, for example. He, whatever you want to say about Bubba Wallace, he had a good weekend, good run going, and he got turned. I mean, and then it was so late in the race, he couldn't do anything about it. And I can understand that he was ticked off at the end because he had a good ride. But it just can't. It's almost like a restrictor plate race.
Yep.
You get turned, you're going to the back. You can't. It's hard to pass on the outside. It's just the circumstances.
And there were a lot of wrecks that guys retaliated to a guy who was being pushed by the guy behind him. It's 3 cars back.
Like pinball, or not pinballs, but
dominoes.
It's like shooting a combination pool shot. And
except for Logano, he just didn't turn.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now, I mean, but I will say, if you want entertainment that's not going to get drivers hurt and or killed, like the Busch Clash at Daytona, I think it's fine. But you have to understand that it is what it is. And I think there were drivers like Elliott and some of the other guys that were like, it's not, we suck, but it's no fun, but it's an exhibition. That's not points.
The attendance was not great in the heats, but it got better at night. It seems like
still only about half full though.
Yeah, and I had looked like it was about 60%, about 25% in the heats. There was hardly anybody there, but I'm glad that improved as the night went on. Maybe they just started letting people in. But I did notice a lot of people in the stands had gear on, and I can't imagine NASCAR was just giving them those jackets. NASCAR's goal was to reach people they had not reached, and just panning through the stands, you saw a lot of that. You saw a lot of people there watching that race that we don't see when we go to a race at Darlington or Talladega or Homestead or Atlanta or Charlotte. But it is California. Maybe if we went to Auto Club, we would see a lot of people that don't look like us. So if that's what they wanted to achieve, I think that was successful. And I had a really good time watching it. I saw this guy, and they were panning through the stands, and I just wrote this down. I'm like, this is great. I might have to get this shirt. It said, I heard what you did for a Klondike. And then parentheses it said, call me. I thought that was great. I was like, that's not even the California. That could work anywhere. Does Michael Waltrip normally do the grid walk where he goes into?
Yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing that. I kind of enjoyed that. I liked it. I know, Travis, you're going to say you don't like it, but I kind of enjoyed the going around and him talking to people. And it looked like he may have caught a few people off guard, but I'm sure some of that was staged. But I enjoyed it, and I liked also that they gave them medals. I thought that was kind of
was cool.
I liked that, and the three guys that were on that got medals seemed to really enjoy getting them. I thought that was cool. That's something, they give the sword at Bristol, medals at the Coliseum. I thought that was really cool. So there's just a few takeaways from I enjoyed it. I don't know if I want to see it there every year, and that might lead to the next question. But there's a few takeaways I had. Thanks for asking.
I did enjoy watching Kyle Busch goose Martin Truex. Did I see that?
Oh yeah, coming from behind him and gave him the business.
Got a little sack tap. Is that PG enough there, Matt?
That's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Tap-a-roo.
Well, I mean, overall, the race was enjoyable. I really enjoyed watching the race. I mean, did it go on a long time? Yeah, because caution laps didn't count, which they shouldn't in an exhibition race, if you ask me. There was a lot of confusion. If you were listening to the scanners, there was a lot of confusion on when the field was frozen. Can somebody go a lap down? And there was a lot of confusion with that. But from what I've read, it seems like in 2024, the Clash is going to be there at the Coliseum again. They signed a 3-year deal with the LA Coliseum in order to do that. So it will be back at least for 2024, if I'm reading it correctly. I'm not going to set that in stone until I see it come across the news flash again saying the LA Clash is going back to the Coliseum. Could they do without some of the singing? I mean, rap isn't my forte when it comes to music. I mean, I could listen to it from every now and again, but is it my go-to? No. But is it, like Michael said, it's trying to bring in these groups of people. I mean, a lot of people were hating on that. I mean, if it's your thing, it's your thing. And if it's your thing and you're going to, hey, he's singing at the Coliseum, maybe I'll watch the second half of the race.
People there had a great time.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed it.
And I think I would not be surprised to see them try and put the great thing about Southern California is you can have that race in February and it's good weather, right? You can't have that most places, but it's kind of like most people that watch wrestling. I'm not one of them, but I'll watch WrestleMania, right? I think that's what this is. Like, okay, people will watch the Daytona 500 or the Clash. It might get an early boost. But let's be honest, those people aren't going to tune in for Pocono. And that's okay. So as long as we all agree that this is what this is, and don't try to make it more than it can be. It cannot be a points race. It cannot. If it could be a points race, Fontana wouldn't be reconfiguring. So I think let it be a spectacle. Let it be a show. It was fun. It was exciting. Was it a little long in places? Sure. But it sure beats the way the Clash and the All-Star race have been the last two until they went there. I mean, it's better than that. Because the Clash used to be run around in a single file line for 55 laps, and then somebody wins at the end with a big crash, or there's a crash every 4 laps and there's 6 cars left. Yeah. So I do think if you're trying to make a product that's an exhibition kickoff, I think of it kind of like the way the NFL did the flag football this year. Was it perfect? No, but it was different enough that I actually watched it. Mm-hmm. I actually tuned in to see what it was going to be like, and I'd never watch a Pro Bowl game. So I don't know. So, Travis?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, but I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Either the Clash or the points race, this is really bold, from Auto Club Speedway, which will not happen next year, will be at Rockingham Speedway, either on the mile track or the short track, because both of those just recently got repaved.
The only problem with the Clash is Rockingham is not warm in February.
But if you remember, for years and years,
It's the second race of the year.
They
Yeah,
used to run there.
Yeah, I
so
know.
it's
Plus, there's one other thing that I think is interesting that occurred to me, Matt. I know that our Formula One expert's not on here, but Formula One introduced the sprint races last year.
Yep, or a couple. I think in 2020. Actually,
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
Is that something that the heats were kind of interesting, but should we have a couple of races, and I don't know which ones they would be, where you have a 30% distance on Saturday that sets qualifying for half points, and then something on a Sunday? I know Indy Car does the double headers where they have points like that, but what do you guys think about heat style racing? Kind of gets back to those grassroots. Is that a way to sort of quote unquote have more races during the season without actually adding to the schedule? What are people's reaction to that? That's something that occurred to me.
Yeah, I think Charlie brought up.
I was gonna. I actually text Matt about that yesterday. Before I answer that, I'll go back on something you just said, and Jamie McMurray said something similar. He said, the Clash does bring back some excitement, or bring some excitement back for the drivers due to how the old setup was. Setup was you had to win a pole to be in a Clash. Well, if that was the case, you'd have had 16 drivers at Daytona this year. I hate to tell you, one wreck.
That's it.
They're all gone. So, because I looked up the stats, there were 16 different pole winners last year. And then you would have had the winner of the Clash from the year before, which chances are he was one of them pole winners. One of the poles. So that would have been. I'm sorry, but that would have been boring. I much more enjoyed watching the Clash at the Coliseum than what I would have 16 people going around Daytona.
The more I think about it, I feel like the more the Clash at the Coliseum is that ugly duckling that everybody berates and belittles,
but enjoys it.
It turns into a beautiful swan.
Yep.
Everybody can't get enough of it. I have a feeling that this is a long-term game that NASCAR is playing, and
they're winning.
I mean, just the way everybody's talking now, because in hindsight,
they could do a little better,
Well, from last year to
this the shows, but
from last year to this year, it was a complete 180.
It was better. It was better.
Yeah.
And remember, the Clash used to be part of 10 days of festivities with an IROC race. And, a lot of other stuff that went on. And when all that started to fall away, now it's like, what in the hell are we doing here for, a Sunday before the Daytona 500? The other thing, and they mentioned this, Meg Joy has alluded to it like 6 times on the broadcast, but don't be surprised if you see not the Clash because of the weather, but the All-Star race go to Giant Stadium next year. They want that New York market.
They got Watkins Glen.
Nah, that's too far away. That's upstate.
That's countryside New York.
Yeah, those people, the city people.
They want city New York.
There are 18 million people within 30 minutes.
Why do you think we're doing a Chicago street race?
That's exactly right.
I think that's going to have a lot to do with what they do next.
We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. I have a feeling.
But we went into talking about the heat races and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel wholeheartedly that should happen more throughout the year. It brings more excitement. They have that 100% rule or whatnot that, don't sandbag, can't hold back.
Right.
There is no holding back in situations like that. Keselowski didn't make it. There were a lot of
Elliott almost didn't make it. Bell almost didn't make it. Yeah.
Yep. So there were a lot of top names.
You know what nobody goes to watch? Truck and Xfinity races. But you throw a 30% or a cup race on that day, you're going to sell a lot more tickets.
Look, I hate to say, come Bristol Dirt, they should do this exact same thing. And sure, you get a certain amount of points. You get set points. If you don't make the show, whatever. But then I mean, the point system, you'd have to come up with something there, of course. But you don't make the show, you don't make the show.
Yeah, it's just like qualifying. You reckon qualifying, you start telling Charlie.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all there is to it.
Penalty to not performing.
Right. But because, Austin said something to me whenever he said that. Whenever I brought that up, he said, well, so if you didn't win the heat race or whatever, what, you would start till in? And I was like, no. I mean, there's got to be a punishment or something for not making the race, just like the Clash. Like you don't race. I mean, that's Saturday night racing. You fail to qualify or you don't make a last chance race, you don't race. I mean,
yeah.
So it's almost like a provision.
Yeah.
Like the old school points provisional.
I don't know.
But I'm not saying that on like all the time. I'm just saying some of these certain things they want to do, like the Bristol Dirt Race and all that kind of stuff. I would definitely say do it at Bristol Dirt Race. They make that a special thing. People talk about throwing away money and stuff like that by paving a football field. Well, I get it works out where they're doing the Bristol Dirt Nationals and stuff like that anyway.
I think
that's a lot of money thrown away.
Yeah.
Throwing dirt on Bristol.
Well, they do reuse the dirt at least.
Yeah.
At least so they can't. It is. I don't know what.
And they recycle the aggregate, I think. But what I could see happening, and Travis, you wanted to jump in here, but let's if you had a practice session Saturday morning, 2 of them, and the second practice session, just like during COVID, that practice session set the lineup for the sprint race. Then you have the sprint race, and you get half points, third points, whatever it is. Maybe you only give it to the top 10. I don't know. Doesn't matter. You can figure out some system there. And then that's the starting order for the next day. And then you run the full race. I mean, there's ways to do this to bring in more excitement. I mean, F1 thought it was necessary, and that hadn't changed in 100 years.
Yeah. Well, what do you run this by y'all? And I've ran it by Matt and them. The stage racing. I like it. I do. I don't think they need to get rid of that. I do think they need to get rid of the caution laps counting in between the stages.
Yes,
But I don't think the stages should be given out to the teams until, I don't know, pre-race festivities, all that kind of stuff.
Do what they did on road courses. Just still have the stages, just don't throw the caution.
Yeah, but here's my thing with that. I'll make 2 points here. One, if they do that, then you're going back to taking commercial breaks with 10 laps to go, and nobody wants that.
Well, they did it in the heat races.
They did it once, but the networks, they're getting about 28 commercials in because of the stage breaks. The other point that I'll make on the heat races is this. If y'all remember back 5, 6, 7 years ago, NASCAR tried this in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It didn't work.
Well, that's a different town.
No. I get it. But what I'm saying is all guys are going to do is ride around. You're not going to get...
Not if you give stage points. Not if you give extra bonus points for the top 10. Not if you... I mean, there's ways to make that difference.
I don't want to see heat races. I just don't.
But or you could do a sprint. F1, it's still a real race. They just give out points.
Yeah.
Xfinity didn't give out points, as I recall.
No. But...
So you give out points. You can't ride around. You can't Jimmy Johnson it. That's Jimmy Johnson wouldn't have won 7 titles in stage era. Not just because of the playoffs, but because how many times did they take pre-race adjustments, start in the back, and blow the doors off everybody?
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that anymore. It's changed the game.
I don't think Napa would be really all that happy if
Chase doesn't make
the show.
But I think you could
fill in the blank. I mean, I'm saying I think there's too much money.
You have to make the show, but maybe you start 40.
And you
sure.
And you would almost have to get rid of the charter system. because all
that needs
36
to go
cars,
away anyway.
It's not going away. It's here for good.
I don't know about good. By the time we're all dead, maybe it's gone.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Anyway,
Should we move along?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only other thing about the stages is they need to switch it up. It don't need to be necessarily, and it needs to be random. It needs to be instead of
You
short.
mean announce like we're going to take a break at lap 80, but don't tell
Well,
them
no,
until right before
it can be set, but not until the day of the race. Like, okay, hey, it's always short, long. You know, it's going to be random draw. Hey, today it's long, short, or short, long, short, or.
And I think they have to reinstitute a substantial amount of practice.
Yeah,
because I think the short stage at the beginning, they can make adjustments. I think if you do a long stage, you're going to have people getting laps down.
You got 8 cars on
it's
lap
just going to
now.
be. Yeah, I think you got to be careful with that first stage. Or if you're going to do your idea, let them practice and get their cars dialed in.
I mean, crew chiefs get paid a lot of money.
They do. It's some interesting meat on the bone here, though. I mean, NASCAR's got a lot of options, and this is I mean, for me, this is bonus points. I mean, I think the stage racing has infused new life. I mean, those 500-mile races were a snooze fest, and now you've got at least something to care about.
Yeah.
You know.
And the bottom line is, I think NASCAR, a lot of this, the new TV partners, which I think will still be Fox and NBC, I think they're going to determine what happens.
Well, we know it's going to be Fox.
It's going to Amazon.
Yeah, it is going to stream. There's a lot that's going to, but Fox is keeping it because they already announced Harvick's joining.
Got a multi-year deal,
So I mean, I don't know what they're paying him.
I mean,
for.
everything streams nowadays. NFL streams on Amazon. I mean, MLB streams on Amazon.
So Fox, what Fox might do is like the NFL model you talk about, which is we're going to broadcast it, but Amazon will let you buy half our contract and put it on yours too.
Right.
Yeah, that NASCAR, they've already said they're not going to sell a portion of their Cup schedule to just a sole streaming partner. So I don't see that.
Well, a lot of their core audience may not have streaming.
They can get bought out.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan paid $230 million so that TNT will broadcast the Charlotte game instead of the Lakers game Thursday.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Hey, anything happen.
Money
talk. Right.
Yep. All right.
Money talks.
All right. Next question here. What event are you guys most looking forward to this season?
Chicago Street Race.
I just kidding. I think I know what Travis, Mike, and
I think our answer is going to be the same. All three of us.
No, I think I know what your guys' answers are going to be because it's on your bucket list.
What do you think it is?
Daytona.
Nope.
That's one of them.
That's one of them.
That's one of the three.
But we're also going to Indianapolis for the 500 this year.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
And what will be the third big ticket item this year?
Oh, are you guys going to a Formula One race in Austin?
No. Well, no, that'd be nice.
Okay.
No.
And can't afford Miami.
So the thing that everybody's excited about, I hadn't had in a long time. Wilkesboro.
Yeah, we will be
You
there.
guys got tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a few.
So
It's awesome.
I don't know how I don't know. It's just going to be a year of racing. So yeah, definitely.
I can tell you what I'm not excited about, which I hope I become excited about. We're actually not going to Martinsville in the spring for the first time in 7 years?
Long time.
That race has been ruined. Now, I will say that the Clash gave me a little bit of hope that maybe short tracks aren't dead. But daggum, that's a conveyor belt of misery for 500 laps up there.
And they still talked about, well, man, it hurt, getting bumped. Well, I hate to tell you, the cars aren't designed to buckle at low speeds. They're designed to buckle at high speeds. You're going to feel it at 80 mile an hour. Quit your complaining a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean.
So what about you, Matt? Charlie, what are you guys looking forward to? What's on y'all's schedule this year?
Well,
Really?
my first race is a Friday night in March. So I get past that one first. We'll go from there.
But that's you racing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's the South. Is that South Alabama Speedway? And it's what, late models?
No, it's still the Cup Lights, unfortunately. I wish I could get behind.
Who was it we talked to?
Late model modified something.
Bobby Allison grew up. I mean,
no, there was.
He's
Grant
and Finger.
Yeah,
That's
Grant.
Right. Yeah.
Grant's won that race 2 times.
You're talking the Rattler.
Yeah, he's won that race a couple of times.
That's down by Mobile, right, Charlie?
No, it's actually 3 miles up the road from where I live.
Oh, okay. Isn't there one down in Mobile?
There is. There's Mobile International Speedway.
Okay. I got confused. I got my Alabama geography screwed up.
No, you're good. But no, I love Grant to death. I got to work with him while I was in North Carolina and stuff like that. Big fan of Grant.
He's a good dude.
He is. He is a really, really good dude.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
I wish he could get the chances and the doors open for him that some of these other guys have
I think this might be his year.
Foot in it. So
yeah,
Travis picked him to win the title.
I think this is his year.
Yeah.
Matt, what you got going on this year?
Well, really, the only race that I can afford to go to as far as time with the baby and all, which, by the way, she turns 1 on Saturday.
I know. Hard to believe, right?
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy to even think about here. But, yeah, she'll be 1 on Saturday. And gone are the days where I could go to 9 races a year and happily do that, or more so easily do that. But I think the big ticket item on
just
my
take her with you.
Yeah, okay.
A couple more years, you can do that. I got pictures of my kids asleep at home.
Emma goes all the time.
Yeah, a couple more years I could do that. And let's just say I'm glad we got a camper now where we could do that. But really, the big ticket item on my list is the race 2 hours up the road, the Labor Day Classic Southern 500. I'm planning to be there for Darlington this year. Right? I mean, it's convenient, same state, 2 miles up the road, take the camper, have some fun right up there. But that's the race I'm most.
And you get to stop at Buc-ee's in Florence.
That's right.
You can't go wrong with Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's rules.
Also, what I'm looking forward to is seeing if NASCAR, I mean, I know we saw the Clash. Is it your traditional short track for NASCAR? No, it's not. In my opinion, it's not. I mean, maybe back 74 years ago when they started racing NASCAR, yes. But really, what I'm looking forward to is seeing if the short track package has improved at tracks like Martinsville, at tracks like Bristol, to see if, and as well as Richmond, to see if races there are going to be improved in this
they
season.
gotta take traction away coming out of the corner. The problem is you can't get up off the corner to get inside a guy. Now the Clash gave me hope because you could run wide, and like there was it Kyle and somebody, it was either one of the heats or the main where they were swapping back and forth doing the over under to each other, and that was
him and Truex.
Yeah, that was awesome but I think Martinsville's too big for that to happen. You know, the way Martinsville always worked is, you know, you could either get in well or get off well, like they talked with the Clash. And now the car handles so well, you can do both. And you can't get off the corner any better than a guy. And the tires don't wear. And there's a lot of things we've talked about they could maybe do. But, gosh, Martinsville's just not a good race anymore.
So I hope I don't see it in person, but I'm curious to see if they get to implement the wet weather package for short tracks this year.
Yeah. I'd like
That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. But, I mean, at the same time, oh, boy, I hope it doesn't just turn into a crap show.
That's what
Well, I think it's still not going to be all. I mean, I think Austin taught him something 2 years ago. I mean, they about killed who did was it?
Truex.
Yeah.
So I mean, it can't just be all no holds barred. But if it's sprinkling at New Hampshire, I'm not sure that race could be any more boring anyway. So
and that used to be such a great race.
It did. It really did. Except the year that Burton led all 300 laps. That was a little snoozer. But
the year that they put restrictor plates on.
Oh, yeah. That was the year after Petty died, wasn't it?
2000.
Eddie and Irwin right there.
Yeah, Kenny Irwin. Yeah, same corner.
Yep.
Same corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, what, I guess all of you, Indianapolis 500, all-star race there in North Wilkesboro, and what was the third one? Daytona.
Yeah. I know you were joking, Charlie, but my home office is in Chicago, and if I can get a work trip that weekend, I wouldn't mind just going to see it. But daggum, the ticket prices for that thing are
$6,000.
ridiculous.
What?
I mean, it's a few $100 just to get in the door.
Yeah.
And when I called about, this woman said, "Well, we got all kinds of packages. We have this, and that." So, okay, how much is that? She said, "Well, for the weekend, it's about $8,000 a person."
That's because you have to buy life insurance with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Probably true.
I do think that race is going to suck, though. I think it's going to be follow the leader.
Folks, I wanted to tell you about a newer sponsor that has been introduced to Ramblin' About Racing here over the past few months, and that is Extreme Sim Racing. It is your one-stop shop for all things sim racing, for platforms, steering wheels, pedals, shifters, you name it. Extreme Sim Racing has it. Go to ramblinaboutracing.com underneath the sponsors link, and you'll find the link to Extreme Sim Racing, where you can find all your latest and greatest sim racing needs. All proceeds will help out Ramblin' About Racing, and hopefully Ramblin' About Racing Motorsports bring you better content and perform better on the virtual tracks of iRacing. That's Extreme Sim Racing under the sponsors tab at ramblinaboutracing.com. Links can also be found on your YouTube description and on your regular podcast description as well. Extreme Sim Racing for all your sim racing gear needs. Go check them out. We'll go ahead and follow it on the flip side. Most races, the best race you're looking forward to, or what you're looking forward to this season to this one, I think it's going to be a consensus vote and a total 5 for 5 here. The race the event you're not most looking forward to, and I got down Chicago Street Course, and I want to hear everybody say it, unless there's something different here.
Indy Road Course is kind of up there with me. Last 2 years have been terrible. We had the 1 year with the rumble strips, and then last year was just bumper cars. And if they want to run that as an exhibition and let them run all over each other like last weekend, that's fine. But you can't have Ross Chastain blow the chicane and then come out ahead. Like, he went through the escape road, followed the rules, and made positions up. Like,
now,
you can't.
Andrew, there's certain people that can get away with things.
Yeah. So it's just, you can't just go into that turn and just go, well, I'm just going to run through the guy in front of me. But it's a shame, because I think places like Road America put on a great show when they're not going there. So, I don't know. It's probably, what about you guys? Anything besides Chicago Street Course?
So for me, this one's easy. And, thankfully they hacked 100 miles off of it. Texas Motor Speedway. I mean,
well, this will be the last year for it.
Yeah, I think they're one of the tracks that's going to get their one and only date chopped.
Where's it go?
I don't know. It's a good question, because it would have to go to a SMI property.
Iowa? That's not owned by SMI, is it?
No, NASCAR owns that.
What's the one that got lost from this year that was really popular?
Road America.
Road America.
It won't go there.
But that's independent.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but they can't.
Who owns Milwaukee Mile?
The city of Milwaukee.
The city, yeah. So they're going to have to either do something to Texas, make it a short track, make it a super speedway, do something
run
with
2
it,
races at Dover.
or they're going to lose. They could do that.
They could do that.
But I also think, which it's not going to happen next year, Nashville Fairgrounds. I think they maybe there's a chance they could hold Texas until the fairgrounds gets ready, and that's where that Texas date goes.
I still think they should do one of these street courses where they run it. They do a double header, and they run it one way on Saturday and backwards on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, I think we're all in agreement right there. Chicago Street Course. I mean, it could have turned into something like the Clash at the LA Coliseum, where it's horrible at first and it gets better. I'm not gonna.
You know what I think of it like, man?
I hate to say it.
We'll see.
I'm gonna be the oddball out, and I'm gonna say Richmond, because that has been a freaking
maybe it'll rain
snooze fest. I'd rather I would much rather watch road course racing than Richmond Speedway, and I don't really have high hopes for the new track president.
I applied for it, Charlie.
I know you did, and you
my
let
hard.
me down miserably.
Well, I just don't have the connections like I thought.
You don't have the credentials
Matt,
either, obviously.
Matt, I want to ask you this though.
In
terms of Chicago street race, I think it reminds me a lot of the Nashville Indy race. Cool idea, great city.
Mm-hmm.
Too small. That race is a disaster. Both years they've run it. It is
narrow.
too small. You cannot pass. It's nothing but a wreck fest in that one corner. And I'm afraid that's what we're going to see at Chicago. Now, I think you'll see them race there a couple years. But, you know, I think it's a really, really neat idea. I just don't think the layout's there to make it happen.
They signed a 3-year deal, so
crap.
Yeah, there's no way they would put all this effort into it.
And that's the way Nashville is with Indy. I think it was a 3-year deal with Indy.
Yeah.
And it's cool going across the bridges and all that. But, you know, when Jimmy Johnson finishes in the top 10 because all the cars crash, might have a problem.
He is going to run it.
Yeah, there's a good reason why he came back to NASCAR.
Yeah, two things about the Chicago Street Course before we move on. One, it was an iRacing concept to keep it on iRacing, from one. Two, a few years ago, Clint Boyer was on the Dale Jr. download, and I hate bringing up a competitor download or a competitor podcast here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He said, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, NASCAR does not need a street course. And this is a ploy to try to get fans and follow the money and do whatever it takes to get fans here and get people back interested in NASCAR when right down the road, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away, was a perfectly good speedway in Chicagoland. It was right there in the heat of the market.
Yep.
And you didn't have to repave and close down roads and Chirac.
And don't forget, they also had Chicagoland Speedway, which was where the Indy cars ran in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean,
both of those properties, though, the problem that happened with is both those properties were more valuable as not racetracks.
Yeah,
right.
And so they got sold. You know?
And that really sucks because I really loved Chicagoland Speedway. It
was great. I went there a few times. The only time I ever saw Tony Stewart win was at Chicagoland. The view was great. It was a great facility. And
right now I will never ever get a chance to go there. The only chance I get to even be close to it is through iRacing right now.
Yep.
But
the one holdout I have, the one hope is the Clash was an iRacing idea. And it wasn't the best, but it wasn't a complete disaster this year. So maybe not this year, but next year it'll be better.
In the words of Michael, we'll have to wait and see with the Chicago Street Course. I'm not going to hold my breath on it. I'm going to give it my due diligence and watch it, but I'm not going to look forward to the Chicago Street Course. I'll give it the ratings and the views, but that's about all you're going to get from me until we see the checkered flag fall.
Yeah.
Watch it be the best thing ever.
I mean,
that'll be hilarious. Or Richmond will be, Charlie.
Yeah. And I probably won't even watch it. I'll get texts and be like, "Man, did you see that race?" No, I was in bed.
Yeah. Michael, you have any questions for us here? I know you have a list of questions over there for us.
Oh, I've asked a few. Travis or Andrew, you want to throw a couple in there?
Yeah.
Well, I kept telling the boys this. I think we need to talk about Joey Logano's hair. What'd you guys think of it?
Is it are they hair plugs?
Oh yeah.
No. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I don't guess I noticed another man's hair. I don't guess I paid that much attention to it.
I only brought it up because Mike Joy brought it. I think Mike Joy brought it up, but he put out a thing on Twitter where he comes up and he's rubbing his hands through his hair and he's hawking some, hair regrow.
I think it's hair club.
Was it hair club for men? Might have been.
Yeah, hair club.
Yeah, and it is. Hair. I mean, he went from a horseshoe to he's got Martin Truex hair now.
Lush, black pastures.
I just kind of find what electric razors don't leave dry skin.
Yeah.
My thought is if that's the way he wants to wear his hair,
more power to him.
Good
for him, yeah.
Got Jamie Little's attention.
When he's
Maybe I should.
when he's the
I guess I need to try.
Whatever, man. Whatever works.
But speaking of Jamie Little, she got a promotion.
Yeah, she did.
That's good for her.
Yeah, she's
good for all of us.
Call about half of the truck races and all the ARCA races.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
indeed.
All right. Well, aside from Joey Logano's luscious locks right there, I got two more questions here, and these both come from you guys. You guys are over there at Blindspotting NASCAR podcast. And before we get into making our playoff predictions, because at the end of the regular season, before the playoffs, I like to calculate and see who got the most correct here. Two more questions here, and this comes from Michael here. What are you looking forward to from the Xfinity and Truck Series season? Those afterthoughts here. But Xfinity and Truck, what are you guys most looking forward to in this season?
I'm interested to see how Haley Deegan does in Xfinity. I hope that she does well. I think it's going to be interesting to watch that.
She's running partial,
she's
right?
running trucks.
I thought she's running partial Xfinity.
She
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And full-time truck, right?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Running Xfinity for?
I think
she got promoted. I think she got promoted to. I thought maybe am I wrong?
No, she's driving the one for.
I thought Monster was going to.
Or not the one. She's driving for Thor Sport in trucks.
It says she'll be racing in truck and Xfinity for Thor Sport.
Okay, that's interesting because they've never run an Xfinity car. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's what and I think you got the backing.
Well, it probably comes out of Stuart Haas's shop anyway.
Yeah, probably.
As far as the trucks, I'd look to see Matty D make some gains this year. He needs to. I hope he does. I hope he gets multiple wins.
Talk about make or break
this year.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so. So those are the two things I'll be looking for. I'd love to see. Has Allgaier ever won a title?
No, he hasn't.
I'd like to see if he can get it done without Racin and Gibbs in the mix this year. But that's what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for, Travis?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, to me, there's four guys. Well, I guess five technically. You got.
So that's not Haley Deegan.
No, I just think.
Not that we know of.
I think your championship favorites are Rhodes, Enfinger, maybe Corey Heim, and then.
How about Majeski?
And Majeski. I think those are my top four. Outside of that, who's going to win the race?
No, I think
Zane
you're
Smith.
forgetting about.
Zane
Did you
Smith.
Did you leave out
Zane
Brandon Jones?
He's an Xfinity.
Brandon Jones.
He's an Xfinity.
Oh, Brandon. Sorry.
Yeah, he's driving the 9 for.
Oh, okay.
JR.
We're talking about.
He was talking truck. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
my bad.
So I think those are my top 5 drivers when you throw Zane Smith in there. I think the Truck Series might be down this year, guys. I really do.
What about Xfinity?
Xfinity. So I picked Allgaier to win the championship, and I want to see. I know we picked Brandon Jones a lot last year, and it bit us. He's in top-notch equipment now. I want to see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I think the Truck Series, you're going to only see 4 or 5 guys win. I mean, you might get a Matty D to sneak in there. Xfinity, they might as well just name it the Junior Motorsports Series because I think all 4 of those guys are going to make the final.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Hill's there. He's got a shot, but.
I mean, you look at those 4 in the Junior Motorsports table, not only do they have the best equipment, you can argue that that's 4 of the best 6 drivers in the series.
Yeah.
Oh, Custer.
My one you just stole it, Michael. My one dark horse for Xfinity would be Cole Custer.
You just want Andy's to sponsor him so you can go get the Cole Custard.
I do. Yeah. They never responded.
Yeah, that Tootsie's Hat rules, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to say Tootsies. I don't really want to say Dennis Warriors, but I just want to say Tootsies.
Well, we can take a road trip to Nashville.
Trying to show you Trackhouse.
Yeah, Trackhouse logo on it.
Goodness.
Yeah, there it is.
Do you guys have any thoughts on the Truck or Xfinity series?
I'm just going to caveat off of what you guys said. Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity series, they had a 75% chance to win it on paper last season. Couldn't get it.
And did do it.
I'm looking at Brandon Jones. Can he put his money where his mouth is right there in that 9 car taking over Noah Gregson's spot? I would say that is a definite upgrade in the Xfinity series when you talk about going from Joe Gibbs Racing to a junior motorsports car, which will leave him into a potential spot right there in the Cup Series and for Chevy team, most definitely. For the trucks,
JTG Doherty wants Stenhouse is out.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of his new teammates will backdoor him.
I don't think they will.
Gibby did.
Junior motorsports gels well together. It's a totally different atmosphere, and I'm not talking from experience. I'm just talking from the outside looking in. It's a totally different atmosphere. Truck Series, one word, one team, one name, one team. Haley Deegan, Thor Motorsports. We talk about Matt Menendelo making or breaking. Is Haley Deegan, is this her make and break season right here? Because Haley Deegan pretty
she go
but
race bikes or something.
But can she do it?
I'm not trying. I guess I am defending her in a lot of ways, but no, trucks and Xfinity are a huge difference.
Yeah,
and it may suit one. It may suit somebody to be in one more so than the other. And I honestly feel that Xfinity may just suit her more so than the trucks. They drive differently, everything.
Yeah,
I'd be willing to
manhandle those trucks, and she's small. I mean, a lot. You have to be. I mean, no offense, but I mean, men have more muscle mass per kilogram of body weight.
I'd like to see how she does, average finish wise and whatnot, for the Xfinity races and stuff that she runs this year.
She ran one last year, right?
So,
Finished
it was
15.
Top 15
at Vegas. Yep.
And there are people.
And
like
Vegas ain't an easy track to get around.
Yeah, no, it's not. And there are people that you got 10 championships between Stewart and Johnson, and they didn't even sniff success in the Xfinity Series. So I mean, I'm not saying she's going to be a great Cup driver, but I like what you're saying, Charlie. That sometimes certain series just aren't cut out. It could, Truck Series also runs on a lot of difficult tracks. And she's going up against guys like a Grant Enfinger, like a Matt Crafton, guys that have
Ty Majeski.
Tons of experience. And she's what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
Now I know there are guys that come in there and win at 18 too. I get that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what she does as well.
Yeah, that would be my two picks right there. Anybody else have anything else before we get into our final question? Before we get into our playoff picks.
I don't think so.
I guess not. And this
is a final question.
This is coming from you guys at Blindspotting as well. Which team combo / duo will be most successful in 2023 as far as the Cup Series?
You said Childress, right?
I think Childress. I mean, they've only got 2 drivers, right? Plus, 2 drivers. So I think per drive. I don't know how to say this. It's hard to compare. You got 2 there. You got Hendricks got 4. Gibbs has got 3. But impact per driver, I think would be those 2 guys. Just from what I saw the weekend, I think they really like being around each other. Austin Dillon wasn't terrible to begin with. I think the kid's got talent. Is he the best out there? No. Has he had a lot of resources due to who his grandfather is? Absolutely. But he's shown some flashes of being racy. I did not used to be an Austin Dillon fan. I don't have any Dillon merchandise. I just appreciate him more as a driver now than I used to. And I think Kyle Busch is only going to be able to elevate his game. Kyle Busch will be able to elevate Austin Dillon's game. And I think they're going to be a force to reckon with, especially on these super speedways and where you have to have a teammate to be successful. Dillon's already good on those tracks. So watch out for that duo, I think.
All right. What about you, Travis?
I'll take the low-hanging fruit that is Hendrick Motorsports.
Good for you. Way to go out on that thick old limb.
Yeah, I just
boy, you chanced life on that one, didn't you?
Yeah. Hey, I made some other bold predictions tonight. It's time I make a layup.
Oh,
I'm struggling. I want to say Trackhouse, but I think they're going to take a step back.
I don't think so.
So good. I want to say Penske, but I still believe in Ryan Blaney. I think now that Kyle Busch is gone and I think Gibbs is going to have a hell of a year. I think they're going to win as an organization. They're going to win 14 races as an organization.
Well, to your point, I think Truex was. I mean, he won the pledge, motivated. I don't know what his breakup from Sherry Pollux will have, what impact that will have on his year.
Very little.
I don't know why they broke up.
He didn't care about her to begin with, so he's just free now. I'm just kidding.
There you go. He's freed up.
Kidding.
He's gonna get more speed because he's freed up. Is that right?
And not only
so
he's not going to win it, Travis. It's going to, but I think Hamlin and Truex both make the final four.
I think Hamlin's motivated.
But Hamlin, even though we'll get you that shirt and send you on a plane to Phoenix, the 11 hat, Travis, he's not going to do it. I think Logano's still going to do it. There it is. There's Travis's favorite driver.
I will say this on here, and I said this in a.
We have some other ones too. We got that as some.
My children bought that for Travis because he's such.
That's just sweet of them.
I said this in a text. If Hamlin wins the 500, I will jump in one of the two used cars and drive it all the way home Sunday night.
Well,
and we'll stay in South Florida.
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 Daytona 500s I have attended, Hamlin won. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm glad you're not going to this one.
That's a good race.
And last time I went there, Michael McDowell won. Now, my pick for this one, and I think Michael read my notes here, I'm going to be looking at Richard Childress. I feel like that team has made a complete 180. Their attitude is different. Like I said at the top of the show, their drive is different with Kyle Busch coming in. Austin Dillon definitely having that good mentor coming in. He doesn't have a rookie coming in and he's mentoring him. He has someone mentoring him as far as Austin Dillon being mentored by Kyle Busch. I think Richard Childress Racing is the team to watch out for this year. And we'll leave it on Charlie before we get onto our playoff grids.
I'm going to go with my same team I said earlier, with Petty GMS. So, Michael brought up a good point a minute ago, talking about having a good restrictor plate. Eric Jones ran good at Daytona, Talladega, places like that.
Well, and Noah Gragson knows how to run it for restrictor
exactly.
plates.
Now he's got a partner to run with him. So,
and I think Johnson will be in those races with him, won't he?
Yeah.
Johnson's going to be at Daytona, and by all means, I feel like he's going to make the show. They get it done this year.
My guess is the other two will make sure he makes the show.
Yeah.
Right.
He will have drafting help.
Doesn't he have a championship provisional?
Nope.
No, there are no provisionals.
They got rid of that now.
Oh, never mind. Because I know a few years ago, who was it? Who won the 90 Daytona 500?
Derek Cope.
Derek Cope was in there, and on lap 3, he wrecked when McDowell won.
Worked for him for a little while, too.
Yeah, it worked for a little bit, but
he's kind of a prick.
Yeah, we're not talking about that right now.
I met him once, too. He is. He does think a lot of himself. He does.
Really?
He's definitely got. Guy. Yeah, he's got little man syndrome. That's what I was about to say.
He was able to aim that pellet gun right at Dale's right rear tire.
Yeah, he was.
Impressive shot, I must say.
Yeah.
Okay, in no particular order, who wants to start off with their top 16? Who makes the playoffs?
I did the top 4. I'm sorry, I didn't do 16. I can come in with 12 fillers just to have fun, but I have a top 4 for each series. I'm sorry I didn't do all 16.
Okay. Well, give us a top 4, and then we'll go down the line because I got all 16 right here. Because when the playoffs start, that's when we break it down.
Well, should we do it this way? Should we name a name and see who agrees?
Okay,
all 30 drivers for each series.
No. Just start with their 16. Okay. If anybody disagrees, we can chime in.
We'll start with the trucks.
I'll go.
Okay, we'll start on the trucks. I'll do Cup because I got it right here in front of me.
And trucks only has 10, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I only did.
Xfinity has 12.
I only did Cup Series.
Oh, then we'll just do Cup.
Yeah, okay, we'll just do Cup. Okay,
otherwise we'll be here all night.
I got them separated by points and wins here. Kyle Busch on wins.
Wow, you went overboard, didn't you?
In no particular order. This is not
Kyle Busch for the most wins.
Kyle Busch on wins. Just on wins.
Oh, he'll make it in on wins.
Correct.
Just a win.
Correct. Kyle Busch on a win.
Okay.
Okay, I guess everybody agrees with me there. Chase Elliott on wins.
Yep.
Bubba Wallace on wins.
Man.
I say no.
No.
No? Okay.
Nope.
I want him to be, but I don't think he will.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Kyle doesn't win, but I think he makes it on. Well, actually, no, I don't think he makes it on points because I think we're going to have more than 16 winners.
Interesting. That would be very interesting right there. Okay, AJ Allmendinger on wins.
No,
I disagree.
No.
Oh wow, geez, my list is horrible apparently.
No, this is good. This is what the point. This is what it's about.
Kyle Larson on wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ross Chastain on wins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Denny Hamlin on wins.
Yep. That makes that keeps Travis sane.
Threw up in my mouth, but okay.
Brad Keselowski on wins.
Nope.
no,
Oh, okay. Ty Gibbs on wins.
Nope.
Ooh.
no, I don't think so.
I think so.
Not this year.
I
Maybe
think
next
he's
year.
already
say-
made. I think he made enemies based off the races he ran last year, and yeah, he started off cool tempered in the clash, but it won't take long.
Nah.
Well,
No, I don't think so
they
either.
banged him around a good bit too. They had the wiring fire issue, which was not the same fire issue as last
Yeah,
year.
that was the team.
Nope.
So.
That was a different thing. So I'm glad we did not get stuck on that for 20 minutes because anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Logano on wins.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell on wins.
Yep.
Austin
Yeah.
Dillon,
Oh, wait, Michael, you out on that one?
I'm just 50-50. I'm not saying no or yes. I don't
50-50.
know.
Austin Dillon on points.
No.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I mean, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, we'll wait and
Yeah.
Well, on point, no. I think he might win.
No, he lucked up last year big time.
He did. He did.
So
But if that whole organization's better,
Yeah.
I
Good
think
team.
the
I could
organization-
see him. You know what? I can see him winning a plate race.
Yeah.
Absolutely. William Byron on points.
Yep.
Harvick on a win.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Gregson on points.
Nope.
I say no on that one too.
Byron,
No,
wins.
neither rookie makes it. Do you have him in, Charlie?
Byron wins in. I got Gregson in though.
Okay.
Okay.
And in the 16th and final spot, to Charlie's probably glee right here, Eric Jones, but on points.
Wow. I'm
You
surprised.
didn't have Truex in there?
I didn't
No
have Truex in there.
No Truex. No Suarez.
Nope.
So I definitely think Truex is in there.
Yep.
Depending on if he could rebound from last season. I mean, the Clash is one thing. An exhibition race is one thing. 500 miles, 400 kilometers is another thing. On a road course, on a short track, on a super speedway, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. You don't have Blaney in there. I'll put Blaney and Truex in there.
I didn't put
Yeah.
Blaney in there only because
I think he
you guys
wins
said,
in.
I feel like he doesn't have it. I mean, there's something about Ryan Blaney
Yeah,
here.
but say he don't have it, but he was also he don't have the wins to prove it last year, but he was like the most consistent driver
Yes.
last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody else that I think is a slam dunk. I think he's going to win 2 races this year is Tyler Reddick.
Yes.
I didn't put I didn't put neither one of the 23-11 guys in.
I
So
see friction over there.
So I had Chastain, Harvick, Larson, Bush, Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, Briscoe, Truex, Bell, Logano, Byron, and that's 12. Reddick, Bowman, Suarez, and it's only 15. I need one more.
BJ McLeod.
No. Cindric.
Maybe.
Wow.
Cindric on a road course.
Cindric
Could
on
be.
a road.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Just does what was his name? Oh my gosh, I totally drew a blank. Briscoe. Does Briscoe win or does he point his way in?
No, he wins. He wins. He wins 2 races, and Harvick wins 3.
You mean Cody Ware don't make? Oh, I'm take him off my list.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I had him winning it all. So here's what I have in common.
BJ McLeod's going to run second.
Yes.
Right behind Cody Ware.
And then Willie T. Ribbs is going to come out of retirement. How old is he? 70 what now? I bet he could give it to some of these guys. I bet
Oh my God, easy. Whoa, it's a PG show.
So I
Park
have
finished
in
fourth.
common with you, Matt. I have Bush, Elliott, Larson, Chastain, Hamlin, Logano, Bell, Dillon, Byron, Harvick, Jones. That's still pretty good. That's 11 the same. I'm going to add, instead of Gregson, Keselowski, Gibbs, Wallace, Allmendinger, I have Blaney, Truex, Reddick. Priest wins 2 races. And on points, getting the 16th spot, the 34 car.
Ooh.
Wow, Michael McDowell.
I do. I think he's going to do it.
If Preston was here, and I think I could speak for Preston here, he would totally agree with you on Front Row Motorsports. And in fact, he'd probably say Front Row Motorsports is the team that's going to the front.
They're going to win the championship. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
Absolutely. They're going to win every race. He loves.
I just have to throw something in there that's a little different.
Absolutely.
To be honest, it's probably Briscoe instead of McDowell, in my opinion. But there's 20. We got to hear from you, Charlie and Michael, but there's probably legitimate 23 to 24 guys that can make it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, when we're having to pick 16, it's tough.
That's a lot.
So
I think the top 8 or 9 are pretty simple, but you get that 12 to 16. That's tough.
Yeah, and I know we're just at the start of the season. Like I said, at the start of the playoffs, I like to average these and say who has the most percentage of drivers in that they picked here, and it's just fun for me.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Of course, I got Elliott, Larson, Byron. Bowman's out.
Oh, nobody said Bowman.
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Travis said.
Truex, Bell, Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
Logano, Blaney.
Yeah.
Priest, Harvick, and Briscoe.
No Almirola, right?
Nope. Chastain, Suarez. I think both the Trackhouse guys get in again. Suarez because of a road course, and then he's out first round. I think Bush gets in, but Dillon don't. And then I
agree with that.
I got both Gregson and Jones making it.
I mean, like I say, you get to that bottom 6.
Gregson and Jones
for a lot of them.
Gregson and Jones. Jones could possibly point his way in, but I would say both of them win a race to get in.
Yeah.
I don't think Gregson would point his way in. He wins and he's in.
I see him could win like a Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of first-time winners down at that place. Michael, what you got? What was your top 4 at least?
Oh, the top 4 for Cup, I've got Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Ross Chastain. That's my final 4.
So, do we want to go around and say our final 4s?
I was going to save that until maybe
we're going to do round by round?
I was going to do round by round.
I can't do round by round. I think we just do final 4.
Well, our brackets, mine and Matt's brackets got busted wide open last year.
Yeah, they did.
Well, how about since why don't you two do your round of 12 and round of 8, and then we'll give our final 4 along with y'all.
But you can't change it to what I just said, though, and I know you want to.
I could do the final 4. I could throw something out here and see just based on the clash and last year's runnings. But okay, I'll do my final 4 if Charlie will do his final 4.
I guess.
Okay.
Please, Charlie, please.
Travis, who's your final 4 then?
So it's tough, but my final 4, and it's probably going to get busted right out of the gate.
It's okay.
Bell, Elliott, Harvick in his last year, and Briscoe.
Ooh,
Lord,
2 SHR cars.
Did you pull those in a box? No, I'm just kidding.
Nope.
That's a
Bell wins the championship.
Man, I'm not on the Bell wagon.
I am not on the Bell wagon either.
Mm.
I go Elliott, Larson, Logano, Hamlin. Logano wins it.
That's a layup.
What?
Okay.
I'm sorry if you want me to be right.
I like
you didn't like my 4? What don't you don't like Chastain? You don't like Larson? You don't like Hamlin? You don't like Truex? What's wrong with any 4 of those?
the bottom line is that none of us know.
No, I do.
Because here's the thing. all the cars.
NASCAR already called me.
Yeah.
All the cars got redesigned in the front. So, and who knows what's going to happen? What do you?
Yeah. What do y'all have,
Charlie and Matt?
Yeah. All right. Let's run it down. 16-8
Hamlin,
or 12. Sorry.
Elliott.
Are these the 12?
No, it's this Final Four. I think.
Final four.
Yeah, this is Final Four.
Hamlin, Elliott,
Busch, Chastain.
Wow.
Who wins it?
Okay.
Who's your champ?
Your favorite driver, Travis.
He finally breaks through.
Hamlin. I think Hamlin does it. I called it last year. Might have jinxed him, but I
You
think
might as well go ahead and cancel that bracket out.
Yeah,
I think we pick him every year.
that one's busted.
He didn't call his a layup.
Fury.
He'll probably do something stupid like play
Do you hear
basketball and tear
Do you
his
hear the
ACL.
vitriol in his voice? There are not many things that get Travis Sherrill riled up, but Denny Hamlin.
I hear jealousy in his voice.
Denny Hamlin does it.
I've seen it.
And given the onesie that we sent your daughter, if he wins it, I expect a personalized piece of Denny Hamlin gear to arrive at Travis Sherrill's house.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Well,
And he will wear it to the next race we attend together.
Via FedEx.
Yes, via FedEx.
The onesie you gave my daughter was a Chase Elliott onesie. She wore it once and only once, and then she grew out of it like a weed.
That's
got photo evidence of it, and
that was probably more than you should have given it. So we appreciate that.
All right, guys.
I have to, man. It looked good on her. I tell you that.
I think she threw up on it the first time.
Yeah.
Like an hour.
I've
already changed that. Yeah.
No, I had this onesie that said "Daddy's little race buddy" for her. She threw up in that. She wore the Chase Elliott onesie for maybe 20 laps, fell asleep. She was to her credit, she was only a week old, so it's like,
y'all are about to lose me because my battery is about to die.
all right, let's go with Charlie here.
Elliott Byron. Elliott Byron, Truex.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Larson, you gonna have 3 from Hendrick? Chastain,
Elliott Byron, Truex.
Logano.
Screw it. Elliott Byron, Truex, Blaney.
Oh my God!
Blaney!
Whoa! That's a hot take.
Whoa! I love it.
I mean, I hope you're not wrong. I'd love to see a kid break through.
Are you gonna go? I mean, all in? You gonna push all those chips in and pick the 12 to win it?
That is some stones.
Absolutely. That's too soon. It's too soon to call that one.
Oh, he didn't go all the way. It's just a tip.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not moving the tip of this yet.
All right. Well, that was our show. We'll go ahead and head into our final thoughts and wrap up this episode.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up today's episode, I wanted to remind everyone out there about a partner that has been with Ramblin About Racing since we were called In the Marbles Weekly Racing Podcast and since we were on the Unhinged Sports Network, and that is Fanatics. Fanatics is your one-stop shop for everything NASCAR, for your favorite drivers' t-shirts, hoodies, hats, die-cast, and so much more. But it isn't just NASCAR. I get all my Alabama Crimson Tide gear from there, as well as my Washington Capitals gear there as well. One-stop shop for everything you need, any type of sport you need. Links can be found under the sponsor tab at ramblinaboutRacing.com, as well as under the podcast description and YouTube description, depending on whether you're watching or listening to Ramblin About Racing. Head over there right now and get your favorite sports gear need for this upcoming season.
White flag, white flag. White flag, white flag. White flag. 1 lap to go. 1 lap right here.
Final thoughts here on this episode of Ramblin About Racing. Here, I can only tell just by that I just cut out of something that was probably appropriate to cut out of, but thanks for joining us through this extended episode here, but a very fun episode of Ramblin About Racing. Really do appreciate you guys from NASCAR Blindspotting podcast.
Thanks for having us.
We should do this more often.
Yeah,
I don't think we did it once in the 2022 season. You guys have a great show over there in the Cottle Creek compound right there. Always have fun guests on, always fun to listen to. It's a great show. If you haven't already, go check out Blindspotting NASCAR podcast. Really worth it. Really fun week to week right there. We're just going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. But before we go, two things. One, we're going to bring back This Week in NASCAR. And if you were noticing that I was fumbling through here, I'm going to bring out the old NASCAR history book here. Flip it to February 5th, 1995. NASCAR launches the Craftsman Truck Series with an 80-lap race at Phoenix International Speedway. Mike Skinner, I should say, my bad, Mike, becomes the series' first winner after qualifying 16th, and that was February 5th, 1995, the Craftsman Truck Series.
He also was their first champion, wasn't he, or was that Ron Hornaday?
That was
The Gunslinger,
I believe.
Yeah.
I
remember
He has
Go
some.
ahead
Sorry,
and
go ahead, Charles.
update fantasy standings too. I'm leading already.
Okay, well, the fantasy standings, if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for our fantasy league. Links can be found in the YouTube and podcast description below. Make sure to sign up for that. It's
I
for
win 2 years in
Hey,
a
we
row.
can do
I'm getting
theirs.
hard.
it's for a $200 Amazon gift card, considering that Charlie won last year and he
Whoa,
did not have a
I win this year.
that's major.
I'm getting it.
no.
If I lead from green to checkers, like I did last year, I'm getting the card.
Only if you wear the Bubba Wallace hat that comes with it.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, well, then you don't get it.
That's not part of it.
No, but
Nobody else that's not a Wallace fan would have to wear the hat.
I run
You
the
don't like McDonald's? That's fine. Come on.
No, he has a problem with DoorDash. It's more
I don't
of a
like
Uber
Columbia.
Eats guy.
I don't like
Oh,
Columbia.
Columbia, right? That's sorry. Yeah. No.
Well, thanks again, guys, from the Blindspotting NASCAR podcast for joining us here. Really a lot of fun. If you guys want to jump in the fantasy league, go ahead as well. It's a lot of fun. It's just on NASCAR.com. Again, links in the podcast description below and the YouTube description. Anything else before we wrap it up here on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing?
Just a quick plug for us, go
ahead.
That, we're gonna be broadcasting hopefully live from Daytona, probably Thursday or Friday, and then we'll put that on the platforms like you guys do as well. But if you tuned in with us, you like hearing what us, don't stop listening to Matt and these guys. They're awesome. But if you want to check out something too from Daytona, we're going to be down there and probably broadcasting something live on either Facebook or Twitter or both, and then we'll put it on the streaming platforms too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
It's room for everybody. You guys are very good.
Yep.
Make sure to make that pilgrimage to the Streamline Motel. My wife and I did that. It was well worth the trip.
We've been there, and it actually backs up to Coates Boulevard, which is my surname. So, I guess it was destiny.
We tried to we
tried to stay there.
We tried to it was booked, and but we made broadcast from the parking lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before they run us off.
Better than nothing there. Okay.
That's right.
Anything else from Charlie or you guys before we wrap it up here on this episode?
It's been awesome.
Yep, it's been great.
Enjoyed it. We really had a good time. Thank you for having us.
Had a good time with you guys as well. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or your regular podcast platform. Really do appreciate it. I'd like to thank our sponsors for the show, Steve-O's Outdoor Lighting. I should really bring it up right here. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Enter the promo code.
I messed it up. Okay. One second.
Just sold 100 lights. Right
It's up there. There
There
it is.
you go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're on your regular podcast platform or you. Really do appreciate you taking the time to stop by and listen to us. I'd like to thank our sponsors for the show, Devos Outdoor Lighting, Extreme Sim Racing, Fanatics, and Stand Up to Cancer for all they do, not only for us here at Ramblin' About Racing, but for what they do for the Belly Up Sports Network as well. Thank you again to the guys from Blindspotting NASCAR podcast for joining us here. And make sure to follow Ramblin' About Racing on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. All those can be found at ramblinaboutracing.com. For Charlie Hercus, Chuck 8384, Preston Lood, P_Lula, Austin Reeves, Austin_Reeves 6. I'm Matt Beamer, and Beamer22 on Twitter. Stay safe and have a good rest of the week. And don't forget, next week, John Garrett, ARCA Series driver, will be on.